Hi there. I've recently written an article about different sorts of wine glasses and how they can sometimes affect the taste of a wine. And I've suggested that Pinot Noir is the great variety that I see being most affected by that. So what I thought I'd do was a quick tasting here. So I've got a number of different glasses here from the ISO glass, the International Standards Organization standard tasting glass. There's what is supposed to be a universal tasting glass, the Liscío tasting glass there, so ideally, suitable for whites, reds, etc. I've got here, it's a restaurant equivalent, but it's Riedel's, the shape of Riedel's Veritas Pinot Noir glass for New World Pinot Noirs. And then finally I have a Riedel Grand Cru Burgundy glass there. Unfortunately, I didn't have a Grand Cru Burgundy to try all these from, so the best we had in the cellar at the moment was Cloudy Bay's 2011 Pinot Noir from Marlborough. Obviously Cloudy Bay, one of the earlier producers in Marlborough, built their reputation on making Sauvignon Blanc, also make a lovely Chardonnay, but their Southern Valley's Pinot Noir is really gaining reputation, and actually Marlborough gaining more of a reputation for producing exciting Pinot Noirs. I mean, this is made in quite a classic way. It's destemmed, it's small batch fermented in stainless steel with indigenous yeasts. It spends a year in barrel aging. 40% of that oak is new, so pretty standard production for quality Pinot Noir. So we'll just have a taste of it with the New World Pinot Noir glass, and then making a comparison to see how that compares with the others. So first thing to say, not necessarily needs it, is it's a bright translucent colour. That's not particularly deep. It's a dark ruby red. It hasn't really begun browning. The rim is not as deep as the core, but it's not particularly orange or, as I say, browned. Swirling it, the aromas are starting to get a little maturity there. There's a sort of a switch over. There's quite high-toned perfume, and in one way they're almost sort of high-toned red cherry. To the other, there's a slight mushroominess. Not really sort of barnyard developed Pinot full-blown yet, but you can see the beginnings of it there. But yes, high-toned, lifted, perfumed, and here we have a large bowl so that I can swirl it and release those aromas, and there's still no danger of me getting wine all down my front unless I'm very very vigorous there with my rotation. So tasting it. Again, those flavours, that sort of, not actually sweet, but sweet fruit, ripe fruit, red cherries, lovely fresh acidity. You can taste that down the sides of my tongue. And at the back, structure. I mean, it's a 10-year-old wine, so the tannins have softened beautifully, but there's still quite a sort of a cocoa, chocolatey, velvety texture at the back of my tongue, where the wine's hitting that. And it sort of finishes by drying it out a little astringently. You might say there was a slight greenness to it, perhaps a bitterness. The flavours are lasting really well. The alcohol is quite warming at the finish there, because I can taste that. And it's a reasonably mature, quite exciting New World Pinot Noir. So let's see what it's like from the other glasses. So first of all, the ISO glass. I think the virtue of the ISO is not that it's I mean, as you can see, there's not a lot of room to swirl there, although I can swirl fairly vigorously and I'm not depositing wine everywhere. The aromas are much simpler. There's almost a slight metallic note to it, although you can get those mushroom notes to it. Tasting it, I think it almost makes the wine taste richer. It's delivering it into the middle of my palate. I'm not tasting the acidity as early as I was. The flavours still last a long time. I'm still getting mushroom notes. I'm still getting cocoa and chocolate notes and texture. So that's quite a good experience. So Liscío very lightweight glass. I mean, the very tiny stem there, very fine, and the finesse really helps sort of deliver the wine smoothly into your tongue. Swirling that there, not having any problem doing that. The aromas are really muted in this glass. I said that smelt like there was a slight metallicness there. There's more here. There's something in the wine that's being accentuated. I have to look more for the cherry perfume, and I'm not getting the mushroom as obviously. And to taste from this, gosh, it's very odd. I'm quite surprised with this. I'm getting a milkiness on the middle of my tongue, but there's a disjointed nature to the wine tasted from this glass that I wasn't getting with the previous two, because I'm getting the fruit in the middle of my tongue, and it's taking it quite a way back, so I'm getting the bitterness of the tannins. But then later on, the acid really cuts in, so I get fruit and acid separate, which I wasn't getting in the previous two. So that's actually a little disappointing. So let's hope this isn't a trend. So the big glass here, massive ability to swirl, so I'm hoping you get more aroma as a result of that. And yes, the aromas are more complex. I'm getting much more ripe fruit, and I'm not getting that sort of metallic note that I got with some of the other glasses. Now to taste it. You can really get almost half your head inside this glass. It's amazing. But the other thing that is really strange is that it delivers a completely different experience for the wine. You see this lip and the broadness of the glass there. Whereas other glasses were delivering this further back down my mouth, this was allowing it to flow over the front of my palate. So it was de-emphasizing the tannins. I do get them, I get them later, but they're smoother, they're more rounded, and they fit with the rest of the wine better. So the wine tastes richer, more velvety, more opulent, and actually riper from this glass. You know, they are small improvements, but they're very noticeable. The quality of the glass, I think, has enhanced this wine. As I say in my article, if you want to read on the news section of winesearcher, I think Pinot Noir in particular, because of its delicate aromatics, is most prone to the sort of wine glass you use. And you know, you need to decide how much you want to spend on a wine glass. I mean, these I think are upwards of $100 each. So, and when you break one of those when you're washing up, that's quite a painful experience. But happens to the best of us. Anyway, however you drink your Pinot Noir, Cloudy Bay's Pinot, really enjoyable. Cheers.